Fortnite needs your help. Oh wait, actually not Fortnite, but these locations need your help. In Season 8, it's time for something different. With every season, something new and unique. And speaking of unique, they just re-added the drift board back into the game, so now it's time to get tricky. Number 5, Tilted Towers. This is probably one of Fortnite's most historic locations. It may not have been around since the very beginning, but since it first showed up on the 18th of January of last year, it's been one of the most talked about locations on the map. Tilted Towers was the first of its kind to give us those high-rise style structures. You've got the two main center buildings that are commonly known as Red Umbrella and Castle. Then you have the surrounding apartments, shops, and vehicles that give this location that city-like feel within such a small spot on the map. Now, Tilted Towers instantly became one of the most popular spots to land. You can oftentimes find a good 10 plus people going there nearly every game, and you guys must all know about Nick Merckx and Tilted Towers by now, right? Well, they're pretty much inseparable. Now, the fact is that this location was just too good. It had high amounts of loot, was brilliant for aggressive players who want to get high kills, but then was also good for the more slow-paced players that might want to camp it out somewhere safely in one of the many bathrooms. This location is quite literally towering above them. As a result, there were less people spread out around the map, making it a fairly boring game if you were to land anywhere else. And as Fortnite continued to up their game and add more to the map, though, we've seen people begin to fan out into other locations again. However, Tilted Towers seems to keep being the main focus of a lot of games, and there's a high chance that this location will be getting shook up a bit. Like literally. Gaming Intel have released an image showing the possible version 8.0 update. In the intro, it clearly shows that a devastating earthquake will be hitting the Fortnite island, and we've already been seeing the tremors and cracks appear on the land now. It then goes on to say that we should check out what changes have happened at Tilted Towers. It finally happened. After all the trolls, after all the conspiracies that never came true, Tilted Towers may actually be getting a major change up. Sure, we've seen the center building get destroyed multiple times and rebuilt, but this time, if all comes true, it looks like we'll be seeing a big change to Tilted. Number 4. So you may be wondering why Polar Peaks is on the list. Of course this place is getting removed, it's melting. But that's not the only thing that may be happening to this giant icy mountain. When Polar Peaks crashed its way into the Fortnite island at the beginning of Season 7, pretty much everyone in the community realized that this place would be gradually melting away in stages. You can almost see the lines for the different stages of melting in the iceberg itself. Slowly but surely, as the season progressed, we were shown that process. You get on a few days later, and suddenly there's more of the castle showing. We had an overpowered sword in the game and a floating ice ball in the sky that we now know as the Ice King, who released a massive storm across the island, blanketing it in snow. We've also seen as the ice has melted enough that we've discovered and have started releasing the prisoner as well, a Fire King looking being that seemed to be imprisoned by the Ice King. Now, the ice could still melt some more before the end of the season, revealing even more, but honestly, I think that most of Polar Peaks melting is done. What's next is the big earthquake. Remember how the Ice King covered the island in snow? Well, that snow has been slowly melting away from the top right of the map going down towards the southwest where the original ice biome started. It looks like that snow may fully melt by the time Season 8 arrives, in perfect time for the earthquake. We have a leak coming from Gaming Intel that shows massive changes to Polar Peaks. It even says that you can check out some newly exposed underground areas. Perhaps the earthquake and the melting combined will reveal a whole lot more below Polar Peaks. Number 3, Tomato Temple. This location has definitely been one of the fan favorites. It's never been particularly good, but it's just got a lot of story and character to it. If you're more recent to the game, then you may not know that this place was changed once before. It wasn't always a temple. At first, it was just a small little pizza restaurant in the middle of nowhere with pretty bad loot. Then when the rifts first appeared in the game, they transported certain objects through time and space, including the giant tomato. It must have appeared thousands of years in the past during the time of Aztec-style tribes because it completely changed the future of that location, replacing it with the tomato temple that we all know and love today. But what if this beloved location may be getting removed? Riot! It's an outrage, but it also may be happening. At first, the earthquake was just a lot of speculation, but then Stage 1 began, the tremors. There wasn't any physical signs on the map appearing or damage, but periodically you'd experience a tremor with your entire screen shaking. Then Stage 2, the cracks. As the tremors got stronger, it began to cause actual damage to the map. These cracks have appeared in at least 9 locations by now, and they all seem to be in the top right section of the map. More particularly, they seem to be surrounding Tomato Temple. The question is, what is Stage 3? Will these cracks in the map meet up eventually and widen, creating giant canyons in the map? Maybe Tomato Temple will sink down into the ground, or perhaps these cracks are being created due to the pressure of a volcano. Perhaps nothing is going to be removed or destroyed, but a giant volcano will rise rise up in that location. It makes perfect sense for a Fire King to set up camp there, in a complete parallel location to the Ice King's castle. Hopefully Tomato Temple doesn't get destroyed in the process though, as it would be cool if it just stayed like halfway up the volcano or something. Maybe a little ruined, but hopefully not fully removed. And in at number 2, we've got Wailing Woods. Now with everything going on with earthquakes and cracks opening up nearby, it's no surprise to see Wailing Woods may be affected too, especially since the 4th crack to appear was only meters away from its south side, which could easily lead up and through Wailing towards the other cracks to the north, creating one giant fissure. We can't forget that this was the last we saw of the prisoner as well, appearing slightly north to perform some sort of fire ritual. The main theory at the moment is he might be trying to summon a fire tornado, which as you can imagine isn't going to be healthy for all those trees. In all honesty, I'd be pretty sad if the whole Wailing Woods did get destroyed or completely removed, maybe just part of it. It's one of the nice, quieter areas of the map that with improvement has become a really great area for loot as well. Even though it hasn't been the most popular location, it hasn't exactly gotten much hate either. It's kind of been one of those locations where you can all appreciate being there when you need to, either to train up as a noob, run to when you're low on meds, or simply just max out on wood. On the other hand, it is fairly big and takes up a large portion of the map. When the map was new, this was great filler, but as the map's been updated, it's starting to get a bit full. Taking out a good section of Wailing Woods while leaving a small part behind might be a win-win for everyone. Something that actually supports this possibility is a recent file found within the code showing the Battle Royale minimap with the discolored area on Wailing Woods. The discoloration doesn't seem to take over the whole of Wailing, but definitely most of it. You can even use an old replay file on PC to explore what it might look like in-game. Obviously, this is just one phase, and the replay files are slightly corrupt, but it does reveal a part of what we might be seeing. The fact that the discoloration is in almost a perfect circle definitely gives us some clues as to what might be coming after. Could this be the circle area where a volcano finally rises from the ground, or is it a giant fire tornado that will be created? Either way, the landscape appears to be dying, and so they'll have to replace it with something. So I'm really interested to see what goes down. Honorable mention number 1 is going to be Dusty Divot. Dusty Depot hasn't had the easiest journey. It's been demolished by a meteor time and time again, making it Dusty Divot. Then it filled up with pop rocks and a lootless quarantine zone. And just to top it off, Fortnite slowly added trees to the area and made it look overgrown, like the area was abandoned and forgotten, which to be honest is how a lot of the community treated the area. But since the meteor did hit this location, Dusty Divot has been constantly evolving every season, and that's why it's in the honorable mention. We doubt the area will be removed, but with it being filled up with trees now, it's most likely going to move on to a new phase in Season 8. Strong theory at the moment is that we might be getting a water-based area. Dusty Divot already has patches of water at its bottom. After all, the location is a pit and the water can't go anywhere. With all of this snow that's been melting, it might be possible that we'll see it fill up Dusty Divot a little bit more. I'm not sure if underwater gameplay is something Fortnite will ever introduce, but you never know if it's right around the corner. The most likely theory, though, is that the current earthquakes are going to lead to Dusty Divot, creating a new change. In version 8.0, there was a leaked image that we showed earlier where it said you could venture underground in newly exposed areas. Considering that Dusty Divot is so deep already, it would make sense for it to have multiple access paths into these underground locations around the map. If they are underground routes, that is. It could be individual areas, but who knows? Honorable mention number 2 is the block. Now, obviously, we're not going to sit here and tell you that the block's featured map will be removed and replaced anytime soon. I'm fairly sure that's common knowledge for everyone by now, but these cracks that have been appearing in the ground are definitely showing us something is about to happen. Cracks 6 and 8 specifically look like they're forming a line leading down from the ocean and alongside the right side of the block. Now, since the block has been going through different locations, a lot of Battle Royale players aren't happy with the constantly changing area. It's not exactly great for a competitive play, and when one location on the map is constantly changing, creating a higher chance of dying due to some RNG reason, it's pretty frustrating. Some are speculating that part of the earthquake will encircle the block and go back up to the ocean, separating it from the Battle Royale island and pulling it a bit further out to sea, but still close by enough to get on. This way, it doesn't interfere with Fortnite's competitive play so much and still keeps map builders happy while adding a new permanent location in its place. And in at number 1, we've got Lazy Links. It's been a pretty fun ride for us at Lazy Links. Like, literally. We had golf carts introduced to the game. We could actually play a round of golf if we wanted to, and drifting around the green was always fun. The area obviously was pretty popular first, which happens for nearly every new location. Even now, there's still a few people that love the area and want to go there nearly every game, but it has died down quite a bit. The area can often be found unlooted and not many people go there. The fact is that even though the area looks looks nice and fancy, the greens are pretty much a no man's land. Walking across those plains is asking to get caught out in the open. The Lazy Links Resort is in the middle of this, so getting in or out of that location can be very tricky at times. Now, even though we've pretty much covered the entire top right area of the map in today's list, the cracks on the map do seem to be heading further out and might be affecting even more locations like Dusty Divot and Lazy Links. Cracks 2 and 3 more specifically have crossed the river and seem to be heading straight to the golf resort. We've still got around 7 days until the season is over, so we should be seeing a lot more of these cracks appear before then, giving us more clues as to what might be happening. The thing is, we don't have much to tell us what could happen to Lazy. The cracks look to be heading there, but what it'll do is a mystery. We can be sure the area will get some sort of makeover in order to make it more popular again. You'll have to figure out what that is. But as for what that is, well, that's just for us to figure out. Speaking of, if there was one thing you were hoping to see with this earthquake, what would it be? Just imagine if we had a Shark King. Sharknado, anyone? But that has been our list of the top 5 Fortnite locations that might be removed in Season 8. Comment down below if you guys have hit any crazy tricks in Fortnite with the new drift board, and let us know what you think of it. Also, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new, push notifications on, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.